200 cartel empire at Boston. Desperate dealers beg for mercy as drugs, guns, and cash vanish in heart-wrenching crackdown. The DEA and ICE have just executed one of the most sweeping anti-cartel crackdowns in recent U.S. history, and the battlefield wasn't the southern border or a remote desert crossing. It was right here, in Boston and across New England. For an entire week, federal agents moved with precision and force, striking deep at the infrastructure of the Sinaloa cartel, a criminal empire long considered untouchable. Nearly 200 arrests were made, high-ranking operatives taken down, and warehouses filled with drugs, guns, and cash dismantled in a stunning show of federal power. This was no ordinary bust. This was a coordinated siege on a cartel network that had embedded itself in American neighborhoods, exploiting local communities, transportation systems, and even digital platforms to move poison across the country. In a series of pre-dawn raids, DEA and ICE teams flooded Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Hampshire, and beyond, executing search warrants on stash houses, apartments, and secret warehouses that had quietly operated as nerve centers for one of the world's deadliest criminal syndicates. The numbers alone tell a chilling story. Over 500 pounds of fentanyl, methamphetamine, heroin, and cocaine seized. More than 22,000 counterfeit pills confiscated, many designed to mimic prescription medication, and dozens of firearms, including military-grade rifles, pulled from cartel hands. This wasn't street-level policing. This was a targeted, intelligence-driven operation that went after cartel operatives who had been embedded in local communities for years, running multi-million-dollar drug pipelines right under America's nose. Federal agents revealed that the Sinaloa cartel had used Boston as a critical hub, transforming the city into a launch pad for drug distribution across the Northeast. From Lawrence, Massachusetts, dubbed Ground Zero for the cartel's activity, to suburban Connecticut towns and quiet New Hampshire neighborhoods, the operation revealed an empire hiding in plain sight. Cartel couriers moved freely through rideshare services, commercial shipping routes, and even the U.S. mail system, ensuring that fentanyl-laced pills and other deadly narcotics could arrive at a buyer's doorstep with a single tap on a phone. It was a system designed for efficiency and anonymity, one that turned every smartphone into a potential drug market. Authorities say this operation was months in the making, the result of relentless surveillance, wiretaps, undercover operations, and cooperation between federal, state, and local law enforcement. Agents described an intricate web of money laundering operations, digital drug marketplaces, and encrypted communication channels, all tied back to the Sinaloa cartel's core leadership in Mexico. While the cartel's global reach is well documented, this crackdown highlights just how deeply they've entrenched themselves in the United States. Cartel operators weren't just trafficking drugs, they were renting apartments, buying properties, and building networks that rival multinational corporations in their sophistication. The arrests themselves sent shockwaves through cartel ranks. DEA officials described scenes where high-level traffickers, once confident in their invincibility, were led out in handcuffs, their stockpiles of drugs, weapons, and cash laid out on tables for the world to see. These weren't low-level street dealers. These were logisticians, financiers, and regional managers, key players responsible for the steady flood of narcotics devastating communities. ICE Homeland Security Investigations, HSI agents, were instrumental in tracking the movement of cartel operatives, using immigration records, financial tracing, and undercover informants to identify ringleaders hiding in plain sight. The drug seizure totals alone are staggering. More than 200 pounds of fentanyl, enough to kill millions, was intercepted before reaching the streets. Agents also seized crystal methamphetamine in quantities that law enforcement described as industrial, along with heroin, cocaine, and counterfeit oxycodone pills stamped with markings identical to legitimate pharmaceuticals. Each pill seized represents a potential life saved, a stark reminder of the thin line between survival and tragedy in America's opioid crisis. But drugs weren't the only thing uncovered. Agents also found caches of military-grade weapons, including AR-15 rifles, handguns with extended magazines, and thousands of rounds of ammunition. Stacks of cash, sometimes hidden in walls or disguised as legitimate business earnings, painted a picture of a cartel operation generating millions of dollars every week. Some raids even revealed drug production facilities within U.S. borders, where cartel chemists operated with precision to cut and press counterfeit pills. Boston, a city long known for its rich history and academic institutions, has now emerged as a central battleground in the war against cartels. Federal officials revealed that Lawrence, a city just north of Boston, functioned as the primary staging ground for fentanyl distribution across the Northeast. Drugs would arrive in bulk, often smuggled through sophisticated cross-border supply chains, and then be broken down into smaller shipments for distribution. Connecticut bore the brunt of cartel infiltration, with the largest number of arrests, over 70, occurring in towns and suburbs that had quietly become hotbeds of narcotics trafficking. In New Hampshire, a major operation in Franklin dismantled a cartel safe house that had been supplying deadly substances throughout rural communities. Perhaps most disturbingly, investigators revealed that the cartel's reach extended beyond physical networks. They have fully embraced digital platforms to market and distribute their products. Social media apps, encrypted messaging services, and peer-to-peer payment platforms have become vital tools in their criminal enterprise. The operation uncovered evidence of teenagers being targeted through Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok, with advertisements for study pills and party favors leading to counterfeit drugs laced with fentanyl or methamphetamine. One DEA official described this evolution as the Uberization of drug trafficking, where ordering a pill is as easy as ordering a ride. The digital transformation of drug trafficking has made detection harder than ever before, forcing law enforcement to evolve its methods. DEA and ICE agents explained that the cartel's new tactics allowed them to bypass traditional street-level distribution networks. With just a few clicks, a buyer could order counterfeit pills, pay through encrypted platforms, and receive deadly drugs at their doorstep, sometimes delivered by unsuspecting gig workers. Investigators uncovered multiple cases where rideshare drivers or delivery couriers were unknowingly transporting fentanyl-laced pills and methamphetamine, believing they were dropping off legitimate packages. This kind of seamless integration of illicit trade into legitimate business models demonstrates how far cartels have advanced their operations. The level of sophistication stunned even veteran agents. Cartel members operated like logistics professionals, managing supply chains with meticulous detail, tracking shipments with encrypted apps, and coordinating drop-offs using GPS technology. Each aspect of their operation was optimized for efficiency, minimizing their exposure to law enforcement while maximizing profits. Agents discovered spreadsheets, coded messages, and detailed tracking logs, all meticulously maintained to ensure every pill and every ounce of narcotics was accounted for. This was not random street dealing. It was a multi-million-dollar enterprise run with corporate precision. Federal officials say that breaking through these layers of security required months of planning, infiltration, and surveillance. Undercover agents posed as buyers, financial experts traced suspicious transactions, and cybercrime specialists worked around the clock to decode encrypted communications. The operation's success hinged on the cooperation between multiple agencies, including the DEA, ICE Homeland Security Investigations, FBI, ATF, local police departments, and international partners. Together, they built a case strong enough to secure dozens of federal search warrants, leading to the sweeping raids that shook cartel operations across New England. One of the major breakthroughs came when investigators traced shipments of precursor chemicals back to warehouses connected to cartel associates in Mexico. From there, they followed the trail to distribution hubs in Boston, Lawrence, and other Massachusetts cities. These hubs functioned like distribution centers for an international corporation, receiving bulk shipments of drugs, breaking them down into smaller packages, and shipping them out across the Northeast. Federal agents revealed that many shipments moved through legitimate shipping channels, often disguised as household goods, electronics, or other benign products.
Some parcels were even sent through U.S. Postal Service facilities, demonstrating the cartel's ability to exploit every available delivery system. The raids themselves were executed with military precision. Federal agents launched simultaneous operations across multiple states in the early morning hours, catching cartel members completely off guard. In several cases, cartel operators were found sleeping just feet away from drug stashes worth millions of dollars. In one dramatic raid in Lawrence, agents uncovered a fortified safe room stocked with cash, narcotics, and weapons. Another raid in Connecticut revealed a hidden basement compartment containing thousands of counterfeit oxycodone pills and assault rifles. The level of preparation for these raids underscored the danger agents faced, as many cartel members were heavily armed and prepared to defend their operations. Law enforcement officials emphasized that these were not random arrests. Each target was carefully selected based on their role in the cartel's hierarchy. Rather than focusing solely on low-level street dealers, this operation aimed to decapitate the leadership structure in New England, removing key decision-makers, financiers, and coordinators. ICE HSI agents played a crucial role in mapping the organizational chart, identifying cartel members who had been living under assumed names and uncovering their connections to Mexican leadership. This intelligence-driven approach allowed federal agents to deliver a crippling blow to the cartel's regional operations in one swift strike. The scale of drug seizures paints a sobering picture of the crisis facing the United States. Officials displayed tables lined with bricks of fentanyl, methamphetamine, and heroin, each representing thousands of potential overdoses. They also showcased counterfeit pills stamped with M30 and Adderall markings, visually indistinguishable from legitimate medication. DEA experts warned that 5 out of every 10 counterfeit pills seized in this operation contained a lethal dose of fentanyl, emphasizing that even a single pill could kill. The agency's message was clear: if a pill didn't come directly from a pharmacy, it's not worth the risk. The crackdown also exposed the cartel's ruthless business model. Agents revealed evidence showing that overdose deaths were not considered setbacks, but rather an accepted cost of doing business. In internal messages uncovered during the investigation, cartel members discussed marketing strategies, pricing models, and distribution routes with chilling indifference to the devastation they were causing. To them, death is just collateral damage, said one DEA special agent. If someone overdoses, they don't see it as a tragedy. They see it as a business expense. Their only concern is profit. Beyond drugs and weapons, the operation revealed a sprawling network of financial crimes. ICE HSI investigators uncovered elaborate money laundering schemes designed to funnel billions of dollars in drug profits back to Mexico and other cartel-controlled territories. Some funds were moved through cryptocurrency exchanges, while others flowed through shell corporations and seemingly legitimate businesses. Agents seized millions in cash during the raids, much of it hidden in walls, ceilings, and furniture. One Connecticut raid uncovered $1.2 million in cash, vacuum-sealed in plastic bags, and stashed in a false wall, illustrating the extreme measures cartels take to hide their wealth. This takedown has been described as one of the largest joint DEA-ICE operations in recent years, but officials say it's only a small part of a much larger battle. The Sinaloa cartel remains one of the most powerful criminal organizations in the world, with operations spanning over 40 countries. Their shift from traditional drugs like cocaine and heroin to synthetic narcotics like fentanyl has made their empire even more dangerous. These synthetic drugs are cheaper to produce, easier to transport, and exponentially more lethal, allowing cartels to maximize profits while minimizing risk. Federal agents emphasize that this week-long crackdown is a model for future operations. Rather than focusing on intercepting drugs at the border, they're targeting the distribution networks inside the United States, where cartels feel safest. This strategy allows law enforcement to dismantle entire supply chains, disrupt cash flows, and send a message that there's no safe haven for cartel operatives on U.S. soil. Officials say that these arrests will not only save lives in New England, but also send shockwaves through the cartel's leadership in Mexico, where losing such a large and profitable network will be felt